By way of introduction, my name is Sandras. I'm the CEO and founder of Pranary. Pranary is a practical business school for entrepreneurs. It helps you to grow your business and grow in your personal life. That's what we do at Pranary. And in today's session, we are running a series of webinars on personal development, leadership development that will empower you to to play a bigger game in the different areas of life. For today's session, we're going to focus on the mental power. Mental power is the power around your thinking, your knowledge, your authority, and the things that you know. When it comes to mental power, there is also something that holds people back. This is the fear. There's a mental fear. And what is the mental fear? The mental fear is fear of not knowing enough, fear of not having the right qualification. And so you're afraid of stepping up because you feel that you need more knowledge, you need more info, you need more qualifications, or you need somebody to give you authority. You need that. But what we find is that the people who have this type of fear are also very knowledgeable, and they keep learning and keep learning and keep learning, but they're afraid to show their expertise and establish themselves in that area. And so today I'm going to share 3 ways to establish your expertise and authority. So what are the 3 ways in which you can establish your expertise and authority? Number 1 is increasing your understanding. So increasing your understanding is, to increase your understanding, we're talking about how do you just make sure that you really are an expert in your area. You know what you're talking about, and you're not touchable. You're untouchable in that area of your life. How do you show that? Okay. So a lot of times we are afraid to stand up. We're afraid to show our expertise because we don't really know enough, right? But a lot of times we do know enough, and then we don't step up. Then if you don't know enough and you want to know enough in your area, you need to increase your understanding. And in increasing your understanding, something that you can do and work on, here are 2 tips on increasing your understanding. Number 1 is understanding the difference between information and understanding. A lot of times people would just get to know a lot of things, a lot of information, and they keep on just consuming a lot of things, and it's not enough. And when you ask them a question about the particular subject, they don't know what to say, but they have a lot of info, or they've got a lot of info which is not useful, right? So there's a difference that you could just continue to just get lots of information, but you don't fully understand something. So now, when you want to be an expert, you need to increase your understanding. And to increase your understanding, you can employ what we call smart cards. So smart cards are shortcuts that do not lead to like a negative outcome. So it will be a way in which you can shortcut your process, but you do that it enables you to move faster in a particular way or in a particular field. And one quick way of increasing your understanding on a topic, okay? One quick way is really, if you're learning something new, for instance, if you want to know, like, what is crypto? I want to be an expert in crypto. You go to a hack that I learned from my professor was, he said, like, although this place is not the place that you could cite for your writing, your academic writing, but it's a way you could learn very fast. Okay, and that place is Wikipedia, for instance. Like Wikipedia, you can go to Wikipedia and learn on a particular topic and really read everything you need to know about a particular topic and what all the important pieces are. And with just that one article, for instance, you could gain a high level understanding of a particular topic, and then you can go really deep into the very specific subtopics or different divisions of that topic. Then as you are learning that, it's also important to learn the jargon of your industry, because the importance of jargon is that it just removes ambiguity and it makes explaining things faster. And that's why people use jargon. Like if you say something, it means the same thing to everybody in that particular industry. So if you want to be an expert in your industry, you need to understand that jargon. But when you are talking to people outside the industry, you need to not use jargon. You need to explain in such a way that they can understand what you're talking about easily. So two ways. One is knowing the difference between information and understanding, and then two is smart cards. Then if it's if you want to understand something, for instance, in finance, you can look at the website like Investopedia. And one of my favorite websites, I haven't checked it in a while now, but it was a website called howstuffworks.com. And there I would just learn about pretty much anything I want to learn. And it would explain like a topic fully. So that's a quick way of doing that. And then after that, you can keep now adding getting deeper in specific areas that you choose. So you can now start adding books and books and books. Okay. And then you could also read book summaries and shortcut your process. Then number two, give yourself permission. Now, a lot of people are really good they're really good in their field. They understand what they're talking about and they're really, really good. But the challenge is that they haven't given themselves permission. They're waiting for somebody else to give them permission. And we see that a lot of times, like in certain fields, like in academia, for instance, where you need to do certain things. And then afterwards, somebody more senior, somebody that is considered an authority in that area tells you like, yes, you have made it. And then you go ahead and do something and you keep going and keep going. Right? And then also that then is the kind of like the downside for a lot of people who are very educated, that we tend to struggle to get things done because we still feeling like, I don't know enough, and I need to still get the authority of my authority or somebody I consider to be an authority. So I'll give you a story of, the first story I'll give you is of this man. This is the doctor who drank bacteria. Okay. There was a doctor who drank bacteria. Think about it. So this is Dr. Barry Marshall. Dr. Barry Marshall is a doctor, and when he started working, he's from Australia. He started working looking at infections or issues of the stomach, gastroenteritis, ulcers, all of that. And then he and his colleague realized that, you know what, I think ulcers are caused by bacteria. But the medical profession at that time said that actually stomach ulcers are caused by too much acid in your stomach. How many of you actually have been told that? Like, there's too much acid in your stomach, and that is what causes ulcers, stomach ulcers, different places in your gastrointestinal tract. Yeah, like in the different parts of your tract where you get ulcers in different parts of your tract. Some will be like the stomach, others will be like intestines or lower colon, all of the different places. But he and his friend and his colleague said, I think this is caused by bacteria. Yeah? And there's a bacteria called Helicobacter pylori. Okay, and this particular bacteria, it says like they did some experiments and found it in the lab, but there wasn't, and at that time all the authorities said actually the bacteria can't cause ulcers because bacteria cannot survive in the acid in the stomach. So what he then had to do, he thought like, look, I can't run. And so he tried to run experiments. Like, how do I run tests? So what did he have to do? He instead just made a broth of that bacteria and drank it. Imagine that. He drank the bacteria and asked his colleague to check and put an endoscope, checked in his stomach. After a few hours, there was an infection. After a few days, the infection in his stomach, and afterwards actually developed ulcers. and in a short space of time. And then they treated that same bacteria, treated their ulcers using an antibiotic. But before he had actually done that experiment, he submitted his paper to a journal, and that journal rejected it, said it was in the worst 10% of the submissions that year. But then, so to prove, he actually drank the bacteria and showed that it caused ulcers, treated it. And then actually in 2005, he was given a Nobel Peace Prize. Okay. And coincidentally, by the way, unrelated, I went to see an allergy doctor last week, and he did tests, like I'm not allergic to anything, and then found that I've got, I just react to he said I've got too much histamine. Says it could be caused by bacteria, and he mentioned that Helicobacter pylori bacteria, and I went to the test on Thursday last week, and just before this session, he sent the report. He said, "Hey, you've got the H. pylori bacteria in your stomach." So it's funny that I had prepared this talk using that example, and yeah, I need to, after this talk, I need to go and buy antibiotics to clear that out of my stomach. But this is an example of somebody giving themselves permission to prove their authority and to prove something that they know, and everything has changed because of that. And the treatment for this has changed because of this man, Dr. Barry Marshall. Then my own personal example is one of my coaches asked me, as I was complaining to my coach, like, you know what, I want to help people with certain things, and I can see that people are struggling with this, but they haven't given me permission to help them with this. Yeah, so, but it's very difficult to help them because I can see what the issue is, and that they haven't given me permission. And then she said to me, "But Sandras, have you given yourself permission?" And that was a big light bulb. Wow. And so I gave myself permission and started to do more of what I do, which includes actually helping people in the personal development space. Yeah. And the third way is to actually show your expertise. Show your expertise. Okay. And how do you show your expertise? You show your expertise by just, you can teach someone, you can write, you can use your social media to just show what you know. So 2 ways of showing your expertise. Number one, the most important is to pick a niche. What are you going to be known for, and what's going to be your area of expertise? And this could be industries, and it could be a particular niche within an industry. And it's like playing football. You need to pick a position you're going to play. Yeah, a lot of people don't want to pick a position because they want to play in all different positions, because they feel like, what if the ball goes to the front? What if it goes to the left? I want to just catch the ball everywhere. But like that, if you don't pick a niche, number one, you're going to get very tired. Okay, if you're playing football and you don't pick a position, you're going to get very tired. You won't touch the ball. Then number two, people can't pass the ball to you. The people on your team can't pass the ball to you. And similarly, when you are trying to establish yourself in any industry, if you're good at just everything, people can't pinpoint you, can't pinpoint your position. You cannot identify your identity. With that, it becomes difficult. So the worst introduction you can ever have, somebody says, "Hey, James, tell people what you do again." James is the man with fingers in a lot of pies. That's a horrible introduction, as an example. Okay, someone says, "Hey, Sandras is somebody who's like very busy, and many pies." It's not a good introduction, because it means you are spreading yourself too thin, and you can't establish yourself as an expert in an area. So pick a position. Then, even when you're working in a job, picking a position means you specialize in something that the organization will know you for, something that your colleagues will know you for. And in your team, so you specialize, do something very well. And that's what you would, that's how you still then, you increase your authority and expertise. And then share. Number two is just share. Okay, share what you know. You can share on social media, share in your blog posts, just share. You don't have to write something super long. It will just be something really, really short. Okay, so those are the 3 ways in which you can increase your authority and expertise. Thank you very much, everybody.